Do you want to get booked more as a speaker? Rebooked, sell your workshops, coaching, consulting, or more easily, turn your audience into raving fans without needing to change a single word of your keynote talk? Then you need to understand the principle of liking. Robert Cialdini discovered that we're far more likely to say yes to people that we like. And when you apply that as a speaker, it doesn't just improve your talk, it opens doors to referrals, collaborations, and long term speaking success. If you think your talk alone is enough to get you booked and rebooked as a speaker, think again. In this solo episode, I invite you to explore with me one of Robert Cialdini's most powerful and underrated principles of influence, liking. Why do some speakers seem to attract bookings, collaborations, and referrals even if they're not the flashiest on stage? How can being genuinely likable build long-term success in your speaking career? And what's the difference between authentic connection and manipulative charm? So in this episode, we'll break down the psychology, the ethical application, and how being likable helped me to grow my platform, my podcast, and my speaking business, even in ways I didn't expect. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Please remember to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box. I do check the messages, or you can reach out from the links in the description. If you are one of our audio listeners, please do come and join us over on YouTube, where you'll also find additional episode clips, bonus videos, and more. In Cialdini's famous research, he identified 6 core principles of influence. And liking is one of the most powerful. Simply put, we're more likely to be influenced by people we like. When I started Present Influence, I didn't have a huge audience. I still don't. I wasn't chasing the biggest names or playing the influencer game. I simply showed up with curiosity, generosity, and a genuine interest in helping people to share their message. I was easy to work with. I prepared well. I followed up. I said thank you to people. And I always focused on making good connections and relationships with the people whose shows I went on and to the people who have come and been guests on my show. And so things started to happen from that. I started getting invited to speak at virtual summits and podcasting events. Some of the guests I'd interviewed referred me to organizers and connected me with other opportunities. Some even referred clients to me. Some came to me to want to work with me as well and to get feedback on their presentation and sometimes interview skills. My inbox began to include emails with comments like, "You're one of the nicest people in the industry I've spoken to. Maybe we could collaborate on something." And here's the kicker. I've never tried to be the most entertaining person in the room, although I do sometimes try to do that. But really what I focused more on is being genuine, respectful, and collaborative with people, not transactional. So on the flip side, when I come across people who feel very transactional, very self-promoting, they just want to see what they can get from you, and they're not really concerned about having a relationship, as they're not that we need to go out on a date or anything, but it's not from a place of connection and friendship. It's really just from a case of, can we use each other? That's really what the transactional stuff feels like. And it doesn't feel good. And I will be honest, it's something I haven't encountered very much in the podcasting world, but it is there. I would say maybe a little more in the professional speaking world. And it is something to watch out for. Some people do get a little bit, let's say, maybe carried away with their egos, or maybe just a little too transactional. And I think sometimes people forget the importance of the relationship side of things, or maybe they're just not that interested in those connections and relationships. So I generally don't want to work with people who are like that. And not because they're bad people, but because I know that ego first communication just doesn't connect well and it doesn't feel good. If you have already watched some of the other videos in this series on Cialdini's influence skills for speakers, you'll know that we tend to take a look at the ethics of these principles as well. So here's how to use the liking principle ethically and effectively. To show some similarity, use audience relevant language when you're speaking, use stories that will help to connect with people, maybe some stories about a time that you failed at something that shows a little vulnerability and allows people to connect with you there. Use examples, speak with your audience and not at them. And don't try to place yourself above them as being somebody who is better than them. We do not need to be the infallible gurus. We want to be really rather someone who We acknowledge that we've made mistakes along the way, but we have learned from them and we're growing and developing. And we may be a little further ahead with some things than our audience that we're speaking to, but we want to be able to connect with them and give them genuine compliments. And if they're interacting, say, hey, look, I love your energy, I love your interaction. Be nice to your audience. Be nice to the team that you're working with. And this isn't to butter them up. This isn't sycophancy. This isn't flattery. Authentic appreciation. It really makes a difference. So if you notice someone on the AV team or somebody in the, maybe there's a runner or a booking agent who's come and been especially helpful to you, point that out and thank them for it. It really makes a difference. And create we moments. Use more inclusive language. We, us, together. Involve your audience in your message as well. Don't be the me speaker. And also, this is super important. Now, I believe this myself, and I've heard it from pretty much every speaker I know. Be easy to work with. So that means being responsible, flexible, low drama. Event organizers will remember if you made their life easier or harder. If you are flying into an event, you want to be the speaker who lets them know when your flight is landed that you're there early, and let them know if they want anything before the event that you're available. Being on time for events isn't arriving just as you're about to go on stage. It's being there well in advance, being well prepared, maybe even being able to go and meet some of the people who are in the event beforehand, connect with your audience one-to-one, and keeping your event team fully informed of what's going on with you, but follow up as well. Thank them afterwards. Cards, gifts, flowers, whatever seems appropriate. They're not generally a huge cost to speakers. And okay, if you're doing an event for free, maybe you don't want to be investing a huge amount of money in that, but little thank yous, little note, maybe just a handwritten note to each of the people. That's really not going to cost you anything at all other than a little bit of time and effort, and it will make someone's day. Be human as well. Don't be a highlight reel. Share your quirks. Be yourself. Don't put on the suit of being the professional speaker. And I've done a whole episode just recently you might want to go and check out. I'll link it at the end of the video for you on how professionalism and trying to be that professional image damages your authenticity and your credibility. So showing humility and vulnerability is valuable. We like people who are real and relatable. There are things that will block your likability. And just as there are ways to build likability, there are behaviors that destroy it fast. And here are some of the biggest blocks to likability, especially for speakers. Firstly, over-focusing on yourself. Too much I, me. Not enough you or we or us. It makes you seem self-involved. Trying too hard to impress. Over-rehearsed delivery, lots of name-dropping, lots of jargon. Trying to use intelligent sounding words. They are just that. They sound intelligent, but they're not helping you to connect. These all tend to indicate a little bit of insecurity. Inauthentic positivity as well. I don't just hate fake and forced positivity. People who are forcing smiles, faking the energy, flattering you in a manipulative kind of way is the definite likability killer. Having a lack of emotional presence. So people who are rushing or not responding with any kind of emotion, they have monotone in their voice, they're not acknowledging the room or the individuals there, it all disconnects you. So be as present as you can be. And being rigid or unapproachable, you might have tabs on yourself. You might think you're the hottest ticket in town, and that can lead to the ego taking over, having a bit of a my way or the highway, and it doesn't win hearts and minds, and it doesn't get you rebooked. There is a subtle form of arrogance that some people have as well. There's a little bit condescending to the audience. So talking down to people, maybe creating a little bit of superiority over them, create some distance. Now, no matter how wonderful you think you are, you're still a person and you're still flawed. You're still human because we are all flawed. Own that. If you can't own that, then you might need to do a little bit of work on moving into a growth mindset rather than a fixed one. And people who have low warmth and high control. So even when you're incredibly skilled, you might have great delivery as a speaker, but it could be cold. And if that delivery is cold and people don't feel a warmth from you, it's going to undermine your level of trust. People want to be able to feel they could talk to you off the stage, that you are just as relatable off stage as on there. So likability, it's not about being soft. It's about being open, connected, and more human. There is a bit where, and this really is where people tend to get things wrong. Likability is not about fake charm or people pleasing. You don't need to be overly polished or try to win everyone. In fact, authenticity is more powerful than perfection. So your goal isn't to get everyone to like you. Give up on that now. It's never going to happen. In fact, you'll probably anticipate, there's always going to be people in your audience who just won't like you, no matter what you do, no matter what you say. Don't waste your time trying to win them over. Plenty of people will like you, and there's also going to be a large amount of people who will be somewhat indifferent, and you could potentially win them over. Those are the people who maybe you can pull over to the side, but don't waste time trying to get everyone to like you. It will never happen. You're better off having a goal of showing up as someone who's worth trusting and connecting with. And I often say this when I'm doing presentation training with people, that you really want to be on stage. You want to have an air of warmth and competence. People want to know that they can feel comfortable with you, that they can feel safe with you, and that you know what you're doing and what you're talking about. When we fake those things, we set ourselves up for a fall. Now, this bit is important. Likability won't make up for a bad talk, but it can elevate a good one into something unforgettable. So be the speaker that people want to be around. Be open and willing to speak and connect with people. Be the speaker they trust, the one they say, oh, we need them back. And if you found this valuable, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow for more influence and speaking strategies. Maybe share this video with a fellow speaker who needs it. And do check the links in the show notes for free tools to help you build ethical influence on and off stage. The next episode in this series is going to be about one of the heavy hitters of influence, reciprocity. So until next time, stay present, stay likable, and stay influential.